She was born with fire in her chest, and he was raised to bury his heart in silence. In an ancient Yoruba land where pride, lineage, and palm wine oaths ruled love, their hatred was tradition, and their marriage a curse. Subscribe and tell us in the comments, would you choose love if it came wrapped in war? In the ancient Yoruba settlement of Idare-Oke, red earth baked in the sun, and riverbeds cracked in sorrow, two families carried a hatred older than memory. The house of Ogumola, blacksmiths blessed with iron and the favor of war gods, and the house of Ajibola, master tappers of palm wine sworn to peace and harvest, had spilled enough blood between them to stain the soil for generations. From the house of Ajibola came Ayodele, bold as thunder, fearless as the Orisha she was named for, yet soft in her laughter and gentle in her mercy. She climbed palm trees when elders said women shouldn't. She spoke when silence was expected, and when she loved with her whole chest. From the house of Ogumola came Adeshina, quiet, withdrawn, eyes always lowered, voice rarely raised, a man forged in discipline, carrying shame not his own. Where others struck first, he retreated. Where others shouted, he endured. The villagers called him cold. They did not know he feared becoming like his father, a man whose temper had cost lives. It was the first light of dawn when Ayodele found him crouched beneath the tallest palm tree, a clay pot of palm wine beside him. "You dare take from my family's trees," she demanded, voice sharp as iron. He did not rise, only tilted his head slightly. "The trees are thirsty, and so is the land. I drink only to survive, not steal." "You survive by stealing?" Her eyes narrowed, lightning in them. "You are arrogant and shameless." "I am neither," he whispered, almost to himself, "but perhaps fate is cruel enough to make me your enemy." Ayodele felt a strange tug at her chest, a flicker of warmth she could not name. She hated him, but the way he spoke, with quiet restraint, stirred something dangerous in her. Weeks passed and rain did not come. Rivers dried to cracked beds. Palm trees drooped under the relentless sun. Livestock weakened and the yams withered before harvest. Villagers murmured in fear, whispering that the ancestors had turned their eyes away. Children cried for water. Mothers prayed for mercy. Farmers pleaded to the gods with offerings of kola nut and roasted yams, but the sky remained silent. The oracle was consulted, and the message came like a thunderbolt. Peace will return only when iron drinks palm wine. The elders understood immediately. The two houses must unite in marriage. That evening, Ayodele sat by the hearth watching the flames dance. Her mother, Oluwakemi, placed a hand on her shoulder. "Ayodele, the gods speak. This marriage is not merely about love. It is about saving the land, our people. I know you hate him, but can you ignore the cries of the rivers, the wails of the children?" Ayodele's jaw tightened. "But mother, he is my enemy." "And enemies can become the instruments of the gods," Oluwakemi said gently. "Trust in what is beyond the heart. Sometimes love is found in the strangest of places." Beneath the ancient Iroko tree, palm wine poured, kola nut broken, the village gathered to witness the union of enemies. Ayodele wore a crown of woven palm fronds. Adishina's hands trembled as he knelt. The elders intoned the blessings. Fireflies hovered like sparks of destiny. The ceremony was solemn, every eye heavy with anticipation. When the last words were spoken, the crowd cheered, but the couple went home as strangers, their hearts still guarded, their resentment unsoftened. Days became weeks. Nights passed without warmth or laughter. Ayodele accused him of cowardice. Adeshina endured her words silently, penance etched into every motion. Then strange accidents began. Palm wine jars shattered inexplicably. Iron tools cracked during forging. The villagers whispered of curses. The marriage, they said, had angered the ancestors. The truth was darker. Ayodele's cousin, Babatunde, had long coveted her. Bitter that Adeshina was chosen instead, he hired village thugs to sabotage the home and frame Adeshina, hoping to claim Ayodele for himself. The harmattan wind rattled the thatch of their roof, carrying the scent of dry grass and distant rain. Ayodele sat by the hearth, the glow of the dying embers painting her skin in hues of copper and gold. She was trying to mend a torn cloth, but her fingers, usually so steady with a hammer, fumbled. Adeshina approached to place a fresh log on the fire. As he moved, their hands brushed, a brief, accidental contact that felt like a lightning strike. Ayodele didn't pull away this time. She looked up, and for the first time, she didn't see an enemy. She saw the man who had quietly shielded her from the village's wagging tongues. A deep, warm blush crept up her neck, darkening her cheeks. Adeshina's breath hitched. He reached out, his calloused fingers grazing the pulse point at her wrist. It was thundering. "Why do you stay silent when they insult you?" she whispered, her voice trembling. Adeshina stepped closer, the heat of his body chasing away the harmattan chill. He tucked a stray braid behind her ear, his touch as light as a butterfly. "Because your voice is loud enough for both of us, Ayo. I would rather be the earth that supports your feet than the wind that tries to blow you down." Ayodele's eyes searched his, finding a reservoir of tenderness she had spent months trying to ignore. Her heart surrendered. She leaned her forehead against his chest, breathing in the scent of cedar and palm sap. "I spent so long looking for a fight that I almost missed the peace," she murmured into his tunic. Adeshina wrapped her in a tight, desperate embrace. The surrender was total. In the silence of their hut, the hatred of their ancestors finally withered and died. When the first rains finally washed the red dust from Idareoke, the village seemed to sigh in relief. Rivers swelled, palms lifted their heads. The crops, which were once shriveled and brown, drank deeply. And the villagers saw the couple differently now, not as a mismatched pair bound by duty, but as two people whose love had healed both heart and land. Adeshina would often meet Ayodele at the edge of the groves carrying her heavy basket of ironwork so she wouldn't have to. He wove delicate rings of palm fronds for her fingers, while she brought him the choicest roasted yams, feeding him with her own hands under the shade of the ancient Iroko tree. The village maidens, who had once pitied Ayodele for being sold to a silent enemy, now watched with longing eyes. They whispered by the river banks as they beat their laundry. "Did you see how he looks at her, as if she is the only star in the sky? And did you see her? The fire eater has become a gentle river when he is near." They envied not just the peace, but the devotion, the way two hearts that had walked through fire had found water on the other side. A marriage that was meant to be a cage had transformed into a story of hope, tenderness, and triumph that the hills would remember for generations. The climax came before the village council. Fearless, Ayodele stood, shaking but resolute. Adeshina finally spoke. "The gods did not bind us in anger. They made our marriage a river to wash the hatred from our hearts, from our families, and from the land itself. We were meant to bear this trial, not destroy each other." Together, they uncovered Babatunde's plot, the poisoned palm wine, the thugs, the broken jars. They brought him before the elders, who demanded truth. Babatunde confessed, rage and jealousy mingling in his eyes. "I should have married her," he spat. "But the gods saw your heart, not your desire," Ayodele replied, firm. Justice was served. Babatunde was exiled, and peace returned to Idareoke. In the silence after storms, they finally spoke without anger. Hands entwined, hearts unguarded. Love did not arrive softly. It arrived like survival. By the time peace returned to the village, the oracle's words had been fulfilled. Iron drank palm wine and learned to be gentle. Enemies had become lovers. Hatred had turned into devotion, and Idareoke thrived once more under the grace of the ancestors.